So it's not insured, he had to spend $2 million cash, and now we're in the situation that we can't get parts for.
Whoa, that's what you're here for.
A wrecked hypercar, a YouTuber with a camera, and a repair bill that could buy a mansion. This story is indeed as insane as it sounds. But there's a deeper point to all of this. When British car rebuilder Mat Armstrong bought a crashed Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, one of only 60 ever made, he triggered a global debate about who really owns a car after they buy it. You see, it's not just about repairing, but the rights to a bought and paid for asset. Your asset. This is a battle over control, safety, and the future of the right to repair. This is the story of the $6 million Bugatti rebuild that turned the industry against Mat Armstrong. The vehicle and the accident. The Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport was never meant to become a salvage car. It was an exclusive. Only 60 examples were ever built. Each would dent their owners $3.6 million in the bank, before options, taxes, and the kind of bespoke customization Bugatti clients typically request. At the heart of the Pur Sport sits one of the most famous engines ever fitted to a road car, an 8-liter quad-turbocharged W16 producing about 1,500 horsepower. It is an engine originally engineered during Bugatti's Volkswagen Group era and refined over the years of Chiron development. The Pur Sport version focused heavily on agility and handling, with revised gearing, lighter wheels, and aerodynamic changes designed to improve performance on twisting roads rather than top-speed runs. The car was the result of years of engineering compressed into a machine capable of astonishing performance. One of those 60 cars eventually made its way to the United States and into the hands of Florida-based car influencer Alex Gonzalez. By 2024, the car had already become a recognizable part of social media car culture, appearing in videos and posts that showcased the hypercar lifestyle. Under the watchful eyes of the internet, owning a Bugatti is not subtle. Every public appearance is noticed. Then, in 2024, the story took a sudden turn. It was the kind of crash that happens thousands of times a day on American roads. Traffic compresses without warning. Brake lights bloom red in a chain reaction. But momentum carries one vehicle just a fraction too far. One such car, in one such situation, found itself rear-ending Alex Gonzalez's Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport. The hypercar's once razor-sharp nose was folded and broken. The airbags hung limp and deflated inside the cabin. Sheets of cracked carbon fiber peeled back from the body like shattered glass, exposing the complex anatomy beneath, while the headlights had been reduced to dark, hollow sockets. The front frame no longer followed the precise geometry it was born with. It had twisted and buckled under the force of the collision. The numbers alone felt unreal, nearly $1.7 million in parts, just to begin putting the pieces back together. It was less a repair estimate and more a quiet admission of defeat. When the technician arrived from France, crossing continents to examine what remained, the inspection felt ceremonial, almost final. Soon after, the machine was stripped of its future in the official world it once belonged to. Its title was marked salvage. The VIN was effectively sealed off, locked away from the network that supplies its lifeblood. No authorized dealer would ever again provide the parts. After evaluation, the insurance company made a decisive call. The Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport was declared a total loss. In insurance terms, this means the estimated repair costs exceeded a threshold where fixing the vehicle was no longer considered economically viable. Once a vehicle is declared a total loss, the next step follows a well-established process. The car is issued a salvage title. This label permanently marks the vehicle's history and signals that it has been written off by an insurer. From there, the car entered the salvage pipeline and was sent to Copart. Copart is one of the largest global salvage auction companies, handling everything from everyday commuter cars to exotic supercars that have met unfortunate ends. Vehicles at Copart are sold to the highest bidder, often purchased by rebuilders, exporters, or parts specialists. And now a hypercar designed in Molsheim, France, engineered with aerospace-level materials and produced in a run of just 60 units, now sat among rows of damaged vehicles waiting for auction. The Copart listing confirmed the next phase of the car's life. The hypercar would leave the hands of the insurance company and move into the secondary market. Salvage auctions are unpredictable environments where the future of a vehicle depends entirely on who decides to bid and what they plan to do next. Some cars are dismantled for parts, others are rebuilt. A few become long-term projects that capture public attention. For this Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, the story did not end at the auction block. But before we go there, let's get some context on why this became such a big deal. Bugatti's service model and repair policies. You see, owning a Bugatti has never been the same as owning a normal car. From the moment a Chiron leaves the factory in Molsheim, France, it enters a tightly controlled ecosystem. This system is not unique to one model or one customer. It is the standard operating reality for Bugatti owners across the world. Bugatti's service model is built on strict authorization. Every modern Bugatti is expected to be serviced through official Bugatti service partners or the factory itself. These service locations are limited and specially trained. Technicians undergo factory training, and the facilities use dedicated equipment created specifically for Bugatti vehicles. Unlike mass-produced cars that can be repaired in thousands of workshops worldwide, Bugatti operates a highly controlled service network. Even for routine maintenance, owners must transport their cars to approved Bugatti service centers. For major structural work, the process often goes further. In many cases, vehicles must be sent back to Bugatti's headquarters in Molsheim, France. This is the historic home of Bugatti and the birthplace of modern models like the Veyron and Chiron. These models, you see, are complex, and that is an understatement. The Bugatti Chiron is constructed around a carbon fiber monocoque chassis. Carbon fiber is exceptionally strong and lightweight, but it behaves very differently from steel or aluminum in accidents. Damage can be microscopic and invisible to the naked eye. Repairing it requires specialized testing, scanning, and bonding techniques. In many cases, the safest solution is factory-level inspection and repair, using tools and procedures unavailable outside Bugatti's ecosystem. This approach aligns with a broader industry pattern. Hypercar manufacturers such as Bugatti, Ferrari, McLaren, and Pagani maintain strict control over parts supply and servicing. These cars are produced in extremely small numbers, often using proprietary materials and unique components. Allowing unrestricted parts distribution would increase safety risks and complicate liability. After the Chiron Pur Sport crash in 2024, Bugatti publicly confirmed it did not support rebuilding the vehicle independently. This was not presented as a personal dispute. Instead, it was framed as a safety and responsibility issue. The company emphasized the scale of the engineering involved in building and repairing a 1,500-horsepower hypercar capable of extreme speeds. Bugatti specifically highlighted concerns about structural carbon fiber components. The Chiron's monocoque is a central safety structure designed to protect occupants during high-speed impacts. Repairing or replacing sections of this structure requires precise factory procedures. Even small deviations from those procedures could affect how the car behaves in future accidents. Another major concern involved the airbag and crash safety systems. Modern hypercars rely on complex sensors and calibration tailored to the vehicle's unique crash dynamics. Bugatti publicly explained that even parts sharing supplier numbers with other vehicles require Bugatti-specific testing and calibration. Airbags are not standalone components. They function as part of an integrated safety system that includes sensors, software, and structural engineering. Even if certain components appear physically compatible with other vehicles, the way they perform in a Bugatti environment may differ due to calibration and testing requirements. Public statement from Bugatti. Rimac CEO Mat Armstrong. In January 2026, the Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport story had caught the attention of millions. At that moment, Mat Armstrong, CEO of Bugatti Rimac, stepped into the spotlight with a public video statement. It was a rare move. CEOs of hypercar manufacturers do not often respond directly to internet debates, especially about a single damaged vehicle. Mat Armstrong was not speaking as an outsider. Since the formation of Bugatti Rimac in 2021, he has led the joint venture responsible for Bugatti's future. His company, Rimac Automobili, had already built a reputation in the hypercar world through electric performance cars and advanced engineering. Now, as the head of Bugatti Rimac, he was addressing a situation involving one of the most complex combustion engine hypercars ever built. Rimac stated that many claims circulating online about Bugatti's service and repair costs were simply inaccurate. Over the months leading up to the video, social media had been filled with dramatic figures and viral posts about the cost of maintaining and repairing a Bugatti. Some numbers had spread so widely that they were beginning to shape public perception of the brand. One of the most widely repeated claims involved the cost of Chiron headlights. Online posts had suggested figures as high as €150,000 for a pair. Rimac addressed this directly and gave a specific number, approximately €25,000 per headlight, or about €50,000 for the pair. Even with the correction, the number remained strikingly high. But the difference between €50,000 and €150,000 is significant. After addressing costs, Rimac turned to what he described as the core issue: safety. His message focused heavily on the challenges of repairing a hypercar like the Bugatti Chiron outside factory control. Rimac explained that many Bugatti components are designed and tested specifically for the Chiron's environment. Even when parts come from shared suppliers within the Volkswagen Group ecosystem, they are not necessarily identical in function. The CEO gave the example of airbag systems, explaining that parts might share supplier numbers but still require Bugatti-specific testing and calibration. Crash dynamics, sensor behavior, and deployment timing are tuned to the car's unique structure and performance characteristics. This point was central to Bugatti's position. In a vehicle capable of extraordinary speed and acceleration, safety systems must operate with extreme precision. Small differences in calibration or installation can have serious consequences. Rimac emphasized that this level of testing and validation cannot be replicated easily outside the factory environment. Despite the seriousness of the message, Rimac was careful to make one thing clear: the situation was not personal. In the video, he openly expressed respect for Mat Armstrong, who had taken up the task of rebuilding the car in question on his own. Rimac then returned to the topic of factory repair. He confirmed that Bugatti had offered to repair the crashed Chiron Pur Sport at its facility in Molsheim, France. Bugatti was not refusing to repair the car. Instead, the company was insisting that the repair be carried out through its official process. In the hypercar world, where engineering complexity and liability intersect, that distinction is critical. But you see, there's a problem here, and Mat Armstrong understands it all too well. That's why he took it upon himself to repair the car. Mat Armstrong's independent rebuild project. Mat Armstrong built his name quietly, one salvage car at a time, turning wrecked performance machines into working vehicles while millions watched online. By the time 2026 arrived, his YouTube channel had crossed millions of subscribers, powered by a simple premise that resonated across the internet. Buy damaged cars, rebuild them, and show every step without filters. Lamborghinis, Audis, BMW M cars, Porsches. He had rebuilt them all. But nothing in his back catalog prepared viewers for what arrived next. The wrecked Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport. The car had been issued a salvage title and quietly listed through Copart, one of the world's largest salvage auction platforms. Salvage listings are public. Anyone could see it. But almost nobody expected someone to actually buy it and attempt to rebuild it. Then Armstrong did exactly that. The Rebuild series launched and immediately began pulling enormous viewership. Individual episodes began reaching millions of views. Social media discussions exploded. Car forums dissected every frame. Mechanics, engineers, and enthusiasts argued in comment sections. Could this actually be done? Should it be done? Was this bold innovation or reckless ambition? Armstrong approached the project the same way he always had, methodically and transparently. The damage was real. Body panels shattered, structural components compromised, complex electronics silent. What once had been a $3.6 million engineering masterpiece now looked like an impossible puzzle. The first episodes set the tone. Every bolt removed, every component cataloged, every obstacle explained in plain language. For most people, Bugatti ownership exists in a distant universe. Suddenly, millions were watching a dismantled Chiron in a workshop, piece by piece. But the stakes were different this time. Mass-produced vehicles are rebuilt independently every day. Salvage Mustangs, BMWs, Teslas. These are familiar territory for rebuilders worldwide. Hypercars exist in a completely different ecosystem. Production numbers are tiny. Parts supply is tightly controlled. Engineering tolerances are extreme. Costs are astronomical. Even sourcing basic components is nothing short of a global scavenger hunt. Armstrong began documenting that reality in real time. Some parts were unavailable through official channels. Others required creative sourcing from shared supplier networks. Certain components demanded reverse engineering or custom solutions. The audience grew with each challenge. Millions of views turned into tens of millions across the series. The project became a lightning rod for a larger debate unfolding across the automotive industry. The right to repair versus manufacturer control. Supporters praised the effort as a bold stand for ownership rights. Critics worried about safety, liability, and the risks of independent structural repairs on vehicles engineered to extreme standards. Bugatti had not authorized the rebuild. The company had offered factory repair at its facility in Molsheim, France. That offer remains open. But Bugatti does not own the car. Mat Armstrong does. He thinks that he has every right to rebuild the car. It's his car. But there are some practical questions here. Will the car ever run again? Can it return to roadworthy condition? Will legal or technical barriers intervene before the finish line? You see, from the manufacturer's perspective, the safest path had already been laid out. Return the damaged Chiron Pur Sport to Molsheim, France, the quiet Alsatian town where every Chiron is assembled, inspected, and signed off by the factory itself. If the car came home, Bugatti would repair it. That position has not changed. But once the insurance company declared the vehicle a total loss, and it moved through the Copart salvage auction system, the Chiron became a privately owned salvage vehicle. Legally, it was no longer Bugatti's asset, nor Bugatti's responsibility. It belonged to the person who bought it, and Mat Armstrong believed that meant he had every right to rebuild it. Because ownership and responsibility do not always sit comfortably together, especially when the object in question is a 1,500 horsepower hypercar engineered to operate at the absolute limits of physics. In Armstrong's view, the equation is simple. He purchased the car legally. He rebuilds cars professionally, and he is documenting the process openly for millions of viewers. It is his project, his risk, and his property. This is not an easy project, not by a long shot. The Bugatti Chiron is not a conventional machine. Its 8-liter quad-turbo W16 engine, dual-clutch transmission, advanced aerodynamics, and electronic safety systems are deeply integrated into a single ecosystem. Every component speaks to another. Sensors, wiring, software, and structural elements are all calibrated together. Restarting a car like this, after major structural damage, is not just about replacing broken parts. It is about restoring a complex system to factory-level precision. Roadworthiness is not just about whether an engine starts or wheels turn. It means safety systems function correctly. It means airbags deploy when they should. It means crash structures behave as designed. It means the vehicle can pass inspections and be registered for public roads. For an ordinary car, independent rebuilds reach this point every day. For a hypercar built in tiny numbers with tightly controlled parts and software, the path is far less clear. But that's not all. Parts availability, software access, calibration tools, and manufacturer cooperation all hover over the project like invisible obstacles. Bugatti has not withdrawn its offer to repair the car at the factory, and it has not publicly supported the independent rebuild either. Meanwhile, the rebuild continues in a workshop far from Molsheim, with cameras rolling and millions watching. And with every new episode, the story grows larger than a single damaged hypercar sitting on a workshop lift. Because at its heart, this is no longer just about bolts, carbon fiber, or a 1,500 horsepower engine. It is about the meaning of ownership in the modern world. Owning something has always carried a simple promise. You buy it. It becomes yours. You decide what happens next. You can drive it, store it, sell it, modify it, repair it, or even take it apart piece by piece if you choose. That idea sits at the core of property rights across the world. It is the foundation of everything from used car markets to classic restorations. Entire industries exist because people believe that once they purchase an object, control transfers with it. For decades, the automotive world has quietly relied on this assumption. Millions of vehicles move through salvage auctions every year. Insurance companies write them off. Rebuilders buy them. Mechanics rebuild them. Cars that were once declared total losses return to roads across continents. It happens daily, largely without controversy. But the Chiron Pur Sport is not a familiar object, and that is where the tension begins. Because modern machines, especially extreme ones, are no longer purely mechanical. They are software-controlled, sensor-driven, and deeply interconnected systems. Manufacturers now maintain control over diagnostic tools, software access, calibration procedures, and specialized components long after a vehicle leaves the showroom floor. This is the space where the Bugatti rebuild has landed. Mat Armstrong owns the physical car. That fact is not in dispute. Yet the expertise, software, and factory-level tools required to return it to its original condition remain largely within the manufacturer's ecosystem. This tension echoes across industries. Farmers debate it when tractors require manufacturer software to repair. Phone owners confront it when devices resist third-party parts. Tech companies, appliance makers, and automakers all face the same question. Where does ownership end and manufacturer responsibility begin. To supporters of independent repair, the rebuild represents freedom. To manufacturers, the story looks different. Let's see who wins. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.